Yo, what's going on? It is 1 p.m. here in Crystal Lake, Illinois. That means it's time for another live stream. Today is Thursday, January 9th, 2025. I almost said it was Monday because, as usual, I'm completely confused as to what day it is. But it's Thursday, Games Day. We're kind of trying to make it Games Day or Fun Stuff Day. And today we're going to try something new. I haven't done it before. Something that I've wanted to do for years. But then I saw John Green do or was Hank Green? I'm not sure which one it was. The one with glass. They both have glasses. The one that doesn't write books. So Hank. He did everyone talks about, well, I didn't see that on my bingo card for this year. He actually did a bingo card for this year, and I thought that was hilarious. So I thought we should do a bingo card for 2025, but it should be with running stuff. And I wanted to make it more of a game. So I think I found a way that we can make our own running bingo card. We'll have the same things on it, but then the boards can be shuffled so that everyone will have a different bingo card. So depending on what we put on there, we might not see any bingos. We might get bingos right away. So we'll try to do that. I'm using software that I'm not sure if it'll work. It's free stuff I found on the internet. Who knows? But we'll see if we can make it happen. But before we do that, let's say hi to everyone listening on the audio-only version on the podcast. Hopefully you guys are out there having a good run. Temps are pretty chilly right now, but I think the big story is that there are crazy fires going on in the LA area. So if you're a runner out in that area, number one, I hope you're safe. And if you are in the surrounding areas, I hope you are also safe and looking out for other people if you can. Everyone that's watching this later but not live, welcome to you guys as well. This is the number one running-themed live stream on the internet, I think. I don't know if there's any others one that are doing this live. So we might be the only one, but it's also like the number one and also a really good place to kind of waste some time and have this on in the background while you're pretending to get some work done. So hopefully your work is going well. Okay. Who else do we have here in the chat? Richard Wilson says, I am one of the lucky souls in Northern California, so no fire, no snow, no wind, just a balmy, clear 20C. I'm glad to hear that you're doing okay out there, Richard. And Brian said, I chipped my tooth doing upright rows today. This is why you don't do strength and conditioning. Yeah, I mean, it's a really good art. I've never chipped my tooth by not doing strength and conditioning. So, it makes a pretty good point for it there. Hopefully you're okay, Brian. All right, Mark Peterson's here. He says, running bingo sounds awesome. So, So I think I previewed it on accident because I was messing around with these screens. But this is what the layout's going to be. And I guys we can kind of get started if you guys want to get started. I still want to check in with you guys first. But just to give you a preview, I've just put in some random numbers in there. And we can make up to 24 different kind of items for the bingo card. I guess we could make more because then certain items, and that would be more interesting if we could make more fun stuff. But I was thinking like for a 2024 year, for an Olympic year, it could be something like, bets or predictions, like Ingebritsen would have won gold, would probably have been on the bingo card, things like that. So we can, or like world marathon record for the women will be broken. I think for like 2025, we could be like Kipchoge makes a formal retirement announcement. So we could think about, that'll be stuff like that. And then as we go through, we'll replace the numbers that are on this screen with text. And then the idea is you'll be able to, I'll share a link to this and you'll be able to each generate your own card from this. And my recommendation will probably be to screenshot the card you get and keep it in your photos. And every time something happens, like write it down and like the date or something. And then we could see if anyone gets bingo. You can go horizontally, vertically, or diagonally. You got to get 5 in a row, and you get a free space in the middle there. And then there'll be a prize. This one will actually have a prize. I have to think about what the prize is. I haven't decided what that is yet, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. And Stephen C. says, would the bingo be something likely? I mean, yeah, and we can agree on them together, And so, like, that's the idea. It's like, it want to be something that's fun. Like, we want to make it so it's not so simple that it's like, everyone gets bingo in January. It might be something that we have to kind of take a little while to figure out, Andrew Scott does one of his famous titles. All right. And D0 Aperture says, finally made a stream. Oh, bingo fun. Yeah. So like we won't be playing it today. I guess there's other days that we could probably try and play real bingo together. But I was thinking we could do this today. I mean, I remember when was my first idea for bingo? I think it was during the pandemic. I think I had that idea trying to do this in Iowa. But this will be like something that might take weeks and months to do. That's what I'm thinking. All right. And Calvin said, "Did Co see that we made bingo card entries on the Discord? You guys did? Oh, like this kind or different kind of bingo? All right. Yeah, I mean, so Mark's like, my wife should be the free space. I mean, it can be stuff like, Kofuzi says my wife during the live stream, and that could be something that we do if we were ever to play bingo like during the hour. But I feel like this could be fun, and hopefully we won't get too mean about it, but like we could have some predictions about stuff that's going to happen, Yeah, Frank said all right. Someone had a good bingo card for the live stream episodes on the Discord. Okay. Yeah, 1492. Yeah, saying something like that. Before we get to that, let's see if there's any questions. Guys, if it's your first time here, or if you're new here, or if you came here because you have an actual question and had no desire to play running bingo, let me know, and we'll make sure we get to those too. I mean, you're welcome to stay for the creation of the game. But let me make sure we answer your questions. Put an emoji in there because then it'll be easiest for me to find. All right, Thomas Dang says, thoughts on wearing your watch on your inner wrist as opposed to your outer wrist? I think that it's a preference thing. There was an old meme or an old joke that used to go around saying, like, if you see an old dude on the trails with a watch facing inside, watch out for that guy. He's a serial killer. Something like that, some sort of hardcore trail runner joke. But I think it's a matter of preference. Some people say like it's because if you bump into stuff, that way you don't scratch your watches or whatever. But I mean, I guess I bump and scratch stuff all the time, and I just let it go. It's just easier for me to look at it if if it's right way out. The inside way seems odd to me, although it makes sense from like a old school, like watches told you the time and the date. And if you were writing documents, you needed to look real quick. I guess the inner wrist is easier, but I think it's a really matter of preference. I don't think it affects the accuracy of any of the sensors. Maybe it affects the accuracy of the heart rate monitor. I guess it could, but maybe not the radios. So like GPS and stuff like that. I don't think it would affect the accuracy of that. But it could affect the accuracy of your heart monitor that's on here because there's more bones and stuff that move on the inner side rather than the outer side of your wrist. So I guess. And Brian says, yeah, on the Discord, there's a 15-word bingo generator link. Okay. And Calvin says the YouTube is going to censor links. Okay. All right. Let's get started. Frank says Mondo breaks the world record. I like that one. Let's start putting stuff on the board because I guess we could definitely make more than Mondo breaks world record again. But yeah, see how it fills in and it's like randomly put in places. So we'll get that one. I like that one. I think I feel pretty good about that one. And Art says, Greg says, you should do bingo at one of your in-person meet and greets and give away sponsor merch. Yeah, you know what? There was an opportunity for that, and I had a scheduling conflict, so I couldn't do it. And I'm really bummed because I think it would have been super fun. Yeah. But that brand got someone even better to do it. So I feel like I guess it was a win-win for everyone except for me, because then I didn't get to do the bingo. I think maybe some of you guys even went. All right. Cosmic Pineapple Michael says, I didn't have Paula Radcliffe coming out of retirement on my bingo card. That is one of the things that I thought about when I was making this game. I was like, what is Paula Radcliffe going to run in her marathon? And I was like, is she going to run in super shoes? That'd be another thing, But yeah. Frank says we should put Kipchoge retires on here. Okay, we could put that on there too. Because I mean, he kind of has already announced to retire. I mean, is he retiring? Like, I mean, he says he's not going to do another Olympics. I don't. That wasn't a stretch. I don't think that he probably was going to get named to another Olympic team for Kenya. But I mean, he's training. I've seen videos of him training again. So he's out there running hard. He's doing reps, bringing people along with him on the dirt roads out there. But I also feel like didn't like Suguru Osako also retired and then like unretired and stuff. So I'm like, I don't even know what it means for Nike athletes when they retired, you know. Raquel says Des will beat Dakota at the Boston Marathon. I like that one. We could put that one on there. I think I'm just going to leave it as Des beats Dakota. And I'll leave it at any race that they're in together. I don't know that they're going to race any events other than Boston, but yeah. Yeah, and Calvin says, you know, in surprising/unsurprising news, another elite athlete will be caught doping and banned. Yeah, I've been thinking about this a lot too. I think that's definitely, I mean, I hope that happens in a way because that means that the doping, you know, controls are working. But I was thinking like, I don't want it to be true, so I don't necessarily want to write it on the board. But I'm like, I feel like there's going to be a shock in the doping. There's going to be a shocking doping scandal. Like it's going to be an American. I don't want it to be an American. I don't want it to be anybody. But I feel like 2025 is the year for something crazy going to happen because it's after the Olympics now. I don't know. People can get sloppy. You know what I mean? So I don't know. But should we put that on there? I don't want to put that on. We can put. I think we need to be more specific. Let's revisit that. Calvin, do you want to put some sort of more specific? I don't want you to name a person, but like, is it a marathoner, an American marathoner, an American sprinter, a sprinter? I don't know. Let's see if we can refine that a little bit. Mirasing Arrow says he saw that Clayton and Connor are going to race me in Houston. Will you go easy on them or full send? I mean, I hope they're ready because I've been training pretty hard. You guys have seen the build up on YouTube. So yeah, I'm coming. They better be. I hope they're ready. I'm guessing that Connor's going to race in the Vaporfly 4 because last year he ran in the Alphafly 3s. So I'm guessing it'll be a test for him to run in some new shoes. And then I think that Clayton's probably also going to race in some new shoes too. I don't know if you saw his most recent reel. He had I forget what other brand. He's been doing a lot of brand collabs with, and good for him for that. But he's doing reps on a track, and you could very clearly see some Asics prototype shoes on that. I wonder if he's going to run in those. Interesting looking shoes. So, yeah. Wojtek is here. He says, "How's everyone doing? What's going on, Wojtek? Good to see you, man." Ooh, Frank's got a lot of good ones. Gutgoats, and it's not, I know I'm not saying it right. Is it like Guat? Breaks another U18 world record. I think that's a. Okay, there we go. How come that one didn't update? Is it too long? Where'd it go? No, there it is. Okay. I don't know why it's doing that. That's weird. All right, we'll just leave that like that then. Okay, sorry. figuring this whole thing out. Calvin says another bingo entry. Nova Blast 6 comes out a month before year end and still make best of 25. Okay, we can put that. I mean, I think they're pretty set with like the November release schedule. Nova Blast 6 November release. And top 5. I think that'll make sense to everyone, right? Okay. I think Goran Marjanovic says, how would you rotate the Boston 12 and the Adios Pro 3 for marathon training? So personally, I feel like the Boston 12 is more of like it's becoming more of a daily trainer. You maybe a bit of a long run shoe. And so that's something that I would use for my easy days, for my longer runs. You could even use it for your recovery runs. And then anything, if those were the only 2 shoes I had, then anything where I had to go fast or really long, I would use the Adios Pro 3. That's basically how I would use those 2 shoes. Mark wants to know, does anyone else remember the pre-GPS watch that Nike made that was angled so you could see the face easier when you were running so that you didn't have to lift it towards your face so much? I don't remember that. I remember like what was the thing that Nike had? It was like, it wasn't Nike Bucks, but it was like Nike Energy Points or something like that. Well, doesn't it? I'm drawing a blank on that too. And Calvin says, this is a good reminder to have the Kafuzi Run Club Discord in the YouTube descriptions and community page. That is a good reminder. I'm going to write that down. I don't have a pencil up here. Oh, here it is. Okay, I'll add that later today. Ooh, Richard Wilson says, someone goes sub 14 at Western States. What's the current record at Western States? Oh, I like this one though. 14 Western States. I like how you guys are optimistic of human performance for this year. Because Eliza says, another woman finishes Barkley. All right. Après moi, le déluge. All right. I like that too. That's a good one. Ooh, Johnny says Emil Carres wins a marathon major. Oh yeah, let's put it on there. We're not running out. I mean, we're not short. We got a lot of spaces here. Emil Carres. All right. I like the optimism there. You know, I don't think I've ever seen or heard an interview of Emil Carres. Maybe it's because I'm in the U.S. and I'm not in the U.K. Maybe in the U.K. you guys are getting it, but I haven't seen an interview of him before. Richard Dizon says, I predict a New Balance shoe podiums at one of the major marathons this year. Ooh, I think that one's going to be a stretch, but we'll put that in. I like that. New Balance marathon major podium. Is that what? Yeah. Yeah. Frank says, World Athletics rescinds the 40 millimeter rule. Ooh. Let's add it. Repeals 40 minute rule. I mean, do we think that from a practical standpoint, like, would we even want that? Is anyone asking for that? I feel like we've gotten a lot of really good technology in 40. Now, I remember, I don't know if I'm allowed to share this, but I had a conversation with someone at Adidas in the testing labs, and they were telling me the story of the Adios Pro 1, and they had to delay the release of the Adios Pro 1 because of the 40 millimeter rule. They had a different intended Adios Pro 1 that was more than 40 happened to be more than 40 millimeters. So it'll be interesting if we ever get to see that shoe. But I don't think that the Prime X is it. I think it was something different, you know. Just got to Goggins carries the boat across the country. You know what? I like that one so much. I think we're going to make it, but I'm going to modify it a little bit. I'm going to write Goggins carries a literal boat. If we see a footage this year of Goggins like literally carrying a boat, like the video has to be, it doesn't have to be from this year, but if it's like something that Goggins posts or someone sees Goggins and posts it of Goggins carrying a literal boat, I feel like that one would count. That one would count. Stevie76 says burritos causes positive steroids test. I mean, her ban is up this year, right? She's gonna come. Shelby Houlihan's gonna come back to running this year, right? She's eligible to. She's allowed to compete again. So like, I don't know. I don't know how we put that on there. Luke says we need a Fiona O'Keefe prediction. Oh yeah. I don't know. You guys gonna have to help me out with that one. Mark Peden says something regarding Spring Energy. Is Spring Energy doing okay? Does anyone know? Are they like swirling the toilet, or is everyone just like, yeah, so it didn't have 40 carbs? We're happy with 18 because everything else has like 18. You know, I don't know. I wasn't super into Spring Energy mainly because it was so expensive. They were good and all, but I wasn't super into it. I did have one, I think, or maybe two during Tiger Claw because they had a bunch of them at the aid station. AJ says Ozempic is on the WADA radar list. It is? Is it because like some athletes might perceive a benefit from it and taking it when it's not indicated would be unhealthy for you? Is that what I don't know. Interesting. Jason Horner says definitive study is published either debunking or confirming ketone benefits. I like this one a lot. One that I wanted to make is ketones get canceled this year. But I think that's nicer to write it that way. Definitive ketone study. Definitive, not definite. I would just love to know one way or the other. My other thing was that like, because I think it's because I was thinking about Shelby Houlihan and the burritos, but I was thinking about like another shocking American doping, and I was thinking it was probably going to happen because of a supplement that a lot of people take. Mark says Ben Johnson runs 12 marathons. Oh, that's for sure. That's like a free space for everyone. All right. Sure, Ben. Let's do it this way. Let's see. Ben Johnson runs more marathons than Matt Fox. Because I think Matt Fox is going to try to run 12 marathons this year. So I think that we could make it two things. Because he's doing the Yuki Kawauchi's technique of just running a lot of marathons. So he's going to be running one a month. And I still think that Ben Johnson, not that it's a contest, but I still think that Ben Johnson's going to win. Ooh, Rick Huey says, someone releases a 50 millimeter plus stack shoe. Well, what was this thing? What was the stack height on, let me focus. What was the stack height on this guy? Was this more than 50 millimeters? I think it was, right? I don't, yeah. I do like that idea though. All right. 50 millimeter plus stack height shoe. We'll just write that. I'll write a new 50 millimeters, just in case that Puma shoe is already over 50 millimeters. And Patrick says, Clayton is now sponsored by Cadence, the electrolyte. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, it was Cadence. You know, I've met Clayton a couple times. I've had some conversations with him. And like, what's funny is that all of his YouTube content is always so like moody, you know, like it's always very heavy. But he's not always a heavy guy. He's a very, you know what I mean? So sometimes it's like hard for me to see it. Like everything is being so like intense. I don't know. It's not bro-y intense. It's like a contemplative, like you need to be quiet. It's a library kind of intense. And Thomas wants to know, have you ever tried Cadence? I've never even heard of it before today. I'm no longer really at the forefront of like trying all the products. I guess I just kind of fell into a rhythm of things that I like, and I just kind of go with that. Eliza says sub 2 is going to happen this year. Oh boy, let's put it on. We got to put it on the cards. Sub 2. I think that's enough. You just leave it at sub 2. I like that one, Eliza. D0 Aperture says Brooks gets a shoe of the year. Okay, we can put it on there. Well, they did have a shoe of the year last year. Well, not shoe of the year, but they did have Max Cushion shoe of the year. But let's see. Brooksman's shoe of the year. Okay. And I feel like maybe not if anyone ranks him as the shoe of the year, but I don't know. We got it out there. Matt Byer thinks I'm going to lose something on a trip. You think I'm going to lose a GoPro? I don't think I'll lose a GoPro, but we'll loses a GoPro. It's possible. I've come close. I almost lost one in Paris. Oh boy, that one freaked me out. Sega Dreamcast says, "Happy Day of Thor, everyone." Is it Day of Thor? Is that a Marvel joke or is that a mythology joke? Ooh, I like this one. Patrick says Ingebritsen runs a full marathon. Oh boy, I like that one a lot. Oh man, imagine if they make a movie about it too. Jakob runs a marathon. Who do you think is going to run a marathon first? Jakob or Josh Kerr? Josh Kerr's already has been running halves, hasn't he? I think he's run multiple in Hyperion Elite 4 PB. Can we talk about the Hyperion Elite 4 PB for a second though, guys? For real? So I published my review in the Hyperion Elite 4 PB yesterday, but right before I did, I was just like, wait a minute, this isn't under embargo, is it? I'm pretty sure I've seen reviews about it already. So I did a Google search for it, and it didn't seem like that there were any. There weren't a lot of reviews for it, and I'm like, oh, it is. I think this might still be under embargo, but I'm like, I don't remember them telling me that it was under embargo. The only thing that I remember them telling me was under embargo was the Hyperion Elite 5. So like I think and I did publish it anyway, and no one's emailed me anything bad about it. Alex Filidi has posted a review on it, but I feel like Alex will just always post reviews on stuff, and he's in Europe, and rules for Europe are always different. And then I did find Thomas's video on the Hyperion Elite 4 PB, which wasn't like really a review. It was more of like a, hey, this finally has PBA now. And in his video, he mentioned that like that while the Hyperion Elite 4 had been out, all the athletes that had good performances throughout the year had actually run in 4 PBs, not the regular 4s. And that to me is infuriating, because that's exactly what they did with Hyperion Elite 1, the 25-mile lifespan shoe. They released that midnight drop at the Olympic trials in Atlanta. 11 hours later, the women's marathon starts, and Des Lind is in Hyperion Elite 2. So just kind of, that just how do you do that twice? How do you do that twice? Mark says, is Galen Rupp basically retired at this point? I thought he was retired. That's why he's been doing all the announcing. He's not racing still, is he? Or is he? I don't know. Good question. I kind of thought he was. I kind of thought he had retired. Colin says, we got to put embargo confusion. That's an easy one for the car. Okay. All right. Let's say Kofuzi breaks embargo. Hopefully it doesn't happen. I don't want to, but I feel like that's a good thing to have on the bingo card. Ooh, Daniel Strays midlife runner breaks 3. I think that one's too easy. He's gonna get that one for sure. Frank Lahulu wants to know, why was Josh Kerr's first YouTube video so bad? I watched that video, and then I also watched the video that someone else made saying that Josh Kerr's first video was so bad, and I didn't think it was so bad of a first video. I mean, I would not have picked putting a Cybertruck as the as part of the thumbnail if I were to make that video, if I were on the editing team. But that was a decision. And so I feel like it set the tone for what you were going to see later. And it reminds me of another bingo card square that I kind of wanted to make. But, some people still like the Tesla vehicles. I mean, I don't like or dislike that Josh Kerr's first video because of that. I feel like it was a good first attempt. And I think that like it's kind of hard. It's like it's like a pilot episode, right? So it's like, what do you put in there? And so I felt like they were like, we're still not sure how we're gonna film this yet. We're not sure how much. I mean, it might have just been like, hey, we had videographers that happen to be around on these days. Let's see what we can kind of cobble together. It felt to me like they did not go into that weekend like thinking like, hey, this is going to be a video that we're going to really. I mean, it felt like at some point someone sat down with him and a camera and mic'd him up, and had him do a little bit of a sit down talking portion. But it kind of felt like there was a lot of like, well, we didn't think or plan or want to pay for a videography team to follow him to every one of the places that he went. And so like, we got to go with kind of like whatever content happened to be have captured that we can ask people to give us, or that Josh could, I guess, film himself. And then, see what we could put together and slap it together with a lot of like footage of him running races and stuff. So I was like, that's not bad. It's something. It's better than nothing. A lot of the comments seem to be wondering like how come there's not more training stuff, and everyone had an idea of what they wanted it to be, and I feel like I'd love to just give them a little space to figure out how they want to do it. Everyone's first video kind of stinks. So I just think that it's great that he's doing it. Hopefully he keeps up with it. Hopefully he continues with it. And yeah, so do I want it to be better? Yeah, of course. But yeah, I'm not too worried about it. Kevin says everyone's first 100 videos. Well, I feel like that's even more accurate. Because like I was just listening to Philly Bowden's video about, I don't know if it was a year-end recap video or what it was, but she was talking about like, she was asking people like when did they start watching, because she was looking back at the entire journey and all that stuff. And I'm pretty sure I found her right after her first marathon. It was pretty early. It's when each video still had the same intro. It had like a 15-second intro and song and stuff to it. I did have a song to it. I don't remember, but there was definitely a similar intro at the beginning of every episode. So it was pretty early on. And she's like, maybe don't start at the way beginning if you're going to go back and look at some of the old ones, because the first ones weren't great. And I'm like, yeah, that's okay. It's your first ones, so. Johnny Dodgen says Aubrey goes mainstream. Getting back to the bingo cards. Johnny Dodgen says Aubrey goes mainstream and becomes BBC sports presenter, specializing in running and athletics. I think that we could say, I think that we could break it out and say, let's see, running media personality goes mainstream. I mean, I feel like we're very close to that happening with Allie Fowler, right? So like she's already been on like the New York City Marathon, like broadcast as part of that, But let's see if anyone else can go really mainstream. I feel like in a way that like Aubrey could be one. That wouldn't surprise me all that much. But I feel like it'd be someone else that will transcend the sport, so to borrow the phrase from Noah Lyles. That'll do it. If it's anyone, it's going to be Allie Fowler, I think. But yeah, and just go into like kind of like, and by transcend the sport means going mainstream, I mean like kind of like when YouTubers go from having their own audiences and then like someone gives them like a late night show, that kind of thing. Not to say that like Allie Fowler's going to have a late night show, although I would watch, but something like that. We'll see if that happens. I don't know if it will happen. Not 2025, but we'll see. Comes Ashley Mateo. I think Ashley Mateo could go mainstream too. Yeah, for sure. Richard Wilson says, could we see co-announcing Chicago? Never, no way. There's way too long a line for people like that. No way. No, like why would you have me when you have like Olympians and people who have placed, in this race do it. So that's not something that I would foresee happening. Brendan Vasquez says for bingo, Hocker or Nagoose wins Grand Slam. How does that work? Winning the Grand Slam, because you've got like the racers, and then what are the other ones called? Like it has like American Gladiator vibes. You got the gladiators and then the contestants, I guess, right? And like, what does winning Grand Slam mean? Like you win. Because there's 4 of them, right? You win all. I don't know. But let's put it on there. You got to pick one. Brendan, you got to pick one. You can't say Hocker or Nagoose. Let's just go ahead and pick one. Someone wins. That's Grand Slam. But also someone needs to help me understand how to win Grand Slam, you know? Eric says, for a Chicago announcer, I want someone with a thick Chicago old school accent to announce Chicago, to be honest. Like Charlie Barron's, like that. That would be pretty funny. Like the Saturday Night Live skit with the Bears, you know? That would be good. Oh, Kenneth Pfaff says some CDS Mag could go. Are you talking about going mainstream? Yeah, I mean, like Chris Chavez is. I think that he would probably be one. I guess maybe on the men's side, if we're going to think of it that way, that could go mainstream and like do some sort of other gig that is sports related, maybe, or entertainment related, but not necessarily running related. I could see that. All right, Kerry Smith says, running question, is wearing alpha flies on a treadmill for a workout overkill? Asking for a friend. I don't think so. If the paces are going to be fast and it's going to be a workout, go ahead and wear it. I don't have a problem with it at all. I think at that point you are wearing it a bit for the cushion, but most treadmill decks kind of have a little give anyway. But I'd say you're wearing it more for kind of like the springiness of the carbon. You know, so I'm like, that's still something that you would want to have. I'm trying to think. I just saw someone post a reel where they had carbon fiber shoes on a treadmill. So it's not something that I don't remember who it was off the top of my head. I want to say maybe Joe Robinson. But someone who's fast and you know, it's not a bad thing. No worries. Patrick says he met Chris Chavez at the Armory this week. Seems like a nice dude. He's a very nice guy. That's cool that you got to meet him too. And Frank says, if you want to go fast on the treadmill, wear Sinisters. I'm surprised Adam didn't say that one, but yeah, that is a fast one, but it doesn't have a plate, but it does feel very fast. I'm just realizing that, like, well, I guess this is what people have been saying, but I feel like my feet are not strong. I don't feel like my feet have ever been strong. Maybe that's why I like carbon so much, but I'm just like, when I ran in the Cyclone 3, when I run in the Sinisters, I'm just like, oh, this takes so much more work. I feel like my feet are working so much harder to run fast in these, you know? Yeah, Mark Peters says, imagine if Dan Aykroyd, especially if he were completely confused as to what's happening, like at the aid stations. Like Dan, that would be pretty funny. I could also go, you know what I would also enjoy? I would also love, like, I could even go for a 3-person announcing team. I just would want a thick Midwestern accent. It doesn't even have to be a Chicago accent. I could go with three thick Midwestern accents. Like, I feel like if you had, like, a situation where it was, like, Kara Goucher, Carrie Tollefson, and then you can throw in, like, a Lindsay Flanagan or Dakota Lindworm. Like, those are all solid Midwest accents, and I just think that'd be great. That'd be amazing to hear that for a Chicago marathon. All right. I don't think we ever get. Let's put Nagoose. I don't think we ever got an update for what that person wanted for winning Grand Slam, and I'm still not sure what wins Grand Slam means. But we're gonna say Nagoose wins Grand Slam. So I guess if he like wins one of his races, right? Because to win, you have to do 2 events each time. So is he running the 15 and 8? Is that what it is? I don't know. I know so little about Grand Slam. Brian says, for bingo, but Saucony finally reaches out to Co this year. I think they. I mean, I used to have a pretty good communication relationship with them, and then I just think that with the acquisition and then the transition from Boston to wherever they are in Massachusetts, in Michigan, I just think that I fell through the cracks. Yeah. So it's not like they haven't reached out. I just get stuff from time to time. It's just inconsistent. I don't have a regular person. So I don't know. I wouldn't know how to like score that for everybody, you know. All right. Terry says, I'll try again. Kahuzi gets 250 subs. I think it's very doable by the end of the year. All right. Well, we can put that on there. That feels like a lot because we're at like 206, I think, right now. And for me to get 50,000 in a single year would be a lot. I think the most I've ever gotten in a year is like 30. If we get like 3,000 subscribers a month, that's on the high end, I think. And so that would be quite a bit. We'll see. Ooh, I like this one. BAA has a YouTube takedown. We got to put that one on there. Oh, I could see it. I could see it happening. I like that one a lot. Very funny. All right, Brendan says, for Grand Slam, competitors receive points for finishing position in each of their 2 races from 1st to 8th. Points are distributed. 10, 8, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So, okay. And then, looks like Mario Kart scoring. He says, the athlete finishes with the highest total number of points after the completion of both events will be crowned Slam champion with prize money being paid out to each corresponding place. Okay. In the event of a tie, the lowest combined time will be used to determine the winner. Okay. All right, so it could be for any one of the Grand Slam events. All right. Brennan, do you have a pick for Nagoose or Hawker? I think you should pick one or the other. Calvin says about Saucony, like the only thing that seems okay with Saucony is that they are adamantly never putting the endorphin line on sale. So I guess sales aren't that bad yet. Okay, that I suppose is a positive sign. Are people able to get the endorphin shoes? I wonder if maybe did they order enough? You know, Myrna Will says Nick Bear's gonna run a 205 marathon. I don't. What is he at now? He's at like 228? I don't think he's going to get to 205. Brian says, bingo, Kofuzi smells 50 shoes by the end of the year. That would be a lot. That's a good number. I just don't want to have to count that many. Let's see. Zachary Hymes, I think it was, right? Because I've read that name before. Zach, good to see you back. Says, hey, Co, been a while since I've joined live. Looking for a 2024-2025 Endorphin Pro 3 replacement. Any suggestions? I think if you want something that's like the Endorphin Pro 3, I would look first at the Tier Valkyrie Elite. Is that what that's called? Yeah, the Valkyrie Elite. That one I feel like is basically a clone of that shoe in terms of like... it's a little bit firmer than the Endorphin Pro 4 is, but it's got a lot more pop than the Endorphin Pro 4 has. So that's the one that I would look to first. Andrew Scott says, if he's going to pick Hawker over versus Nagoose, he's going to go with the hometown hero Hawker. Dan Dalton also wants Hawker over Nagoose. Yard doesn't have the killer instinct. Love the guy, but he seems content with second. I feel like that's just his rep. I feel like I don't know. I feel like he's a competitive dude in there. I just think that because he always keeps his nose out of all the talking. All right, but it seems like you guys want Hawker as the. But we'll have to see if Brennan chimes in and wants something different. We'll change it because it was Brennan's idea. Yeah, Calvin says he thinks Nick ran a 238, not a 220. Okay, yeah, 238. So he's a little bit away from a 205. Ooh, Frank says there's going to be a new lightest shoe on the spreadsheet. Okay, I like that one. Based on what I see coming, what I've seen coming, I think that's going to be that's a gimme. And Brendan says for the Hawker or Nagoose, he's good with Hawker. Okay, good. So Hawker wins Grand Slam. Cool. Brian says there's a missing space to the right of you on the shoe wall. I think. Oh, I ran. Been doing a lot of rearranging lately, but right now this is the spot for the Diodora Nucleo 2 because I ran in those today. So that's what normally goes. That's not, and I guess not what normally goes there. That's why that space is empty. And Ken in the Fab says, with Saucony merging the office for cost saving is a bad sign. I think it's a very bad sign because I feel like that's the way that a lot of people do layoffs without having to announce layoffs. I also feel like return to office mandates are also a kind of way of doing layoffs without doing layoffs. I think it's a incredibly short-sighted way of doing it. It's like, I take that as a bad sign too. But I always feel bad every time I say something about concern about Saucony because I don't want it to be a self-fulfilling prophecy, but I have concerns, And it's like they didn't re-sign, and I don't think that they didn't re-sign some of their pro athletes. They didn't re-sign Parker Stinson. They didn't re-sign Laura Thweet. So those are also concerns too, because then it's like, who are the Saucony athletes left? I know I don't want to disrespect anyone that's on the roster because they do have athletes, but it seems like that roster number is dwindling. It seems like they don't sponsor any races in the U.S. They do a 10K in London, a big 10K in London. Like Saucony EU is different, very different than Saucony US. I don't know. Stevie76 says, Capuzzi enters the transfer portal with 3 years left on his D2 eligibility. I think I have 3 years left of D3 eligibility. But yeah. Because I only competed for a year. I did an indoor and an outdoor season. I don't think I competed in my sophomore year. So I technically have 3 years left. Calvin says, the Nucleo 2 seems like such a random shoe to review. I mean, it's the only shoe that Diodora ever sent me. I have another one, but it's under embargo, so I can't show it to you yet. So there'll be more. But yeah. I mean, for a long time, I just felt like I didn't know anything about Diodora. They never reached out to me, and I was like, if they send me one, I'll review it. And so they did. I kind of wish they would have sent me something different. Because this one feels like a stability shoe to me. And so it's not really, I think, probably the best way to intro me to the brand. But I also feel like they're transitioning quite a bit of their product. So I'm trying to keep an open mind. All right. Zachary says that there's very few sizes left of the Tier Valkyrie Elite, leaning to the Pro 4, the New Balance SC Elite, or the Puma DV8 Nitro Elite 3. Personally, I love the Puma DV8 Nitro Elite 3. And I think that you would like it more than the SC Elite if you're really liking the Endorphin Pro 3. The Endorphin Pro 4 isn't like a completely different shoe than the Endorphin Pro 3. But to me, it feels like it's gotten more comfortable at the expense of more powerful, So like I'd probably look first at the Endorphin Pro 4 and then the Deviate Nitro Elite 3. Because while I prefer that shoe a lot, it's a very different feel underfoot than the Endorphin Pro 3. Oh, Dan Dalton says barefoot makes an unlikely comeback. I'm not sure how we're going to prove that, but yeah, I like that one on there. And then I think we can add a couple more on here if we want to add more, or maybe at this point it'd be a good time to just call it, and then I can figure out a way to distribute it to all you guys. Tracksmith, Andrew says that the Tracksmith Elliott Racer becomes a Vaporfly killer. You know, I'm not sure how to. It feels like it's kind of mean, but I don't know how to write. I don't know. We'll see. I'll be learning more about that soon. Ooh, Jason Horner, I like this up. A shoe brand sweep on the podium at one of the majors. Okay, let's put that one. Shoe brand sweep at a major. Okay, and that could be either. It doesn't have to be men's and women's. It could be just men or just women, I think. Runner will. I think Martha also said this too. Someone wins a marathon wearing Crocs. I don't think that's gonna happen. Season fan says, "Did you see the Athlete Specials YouTube influencers rating? I did not see that. I'll have to take a look at that. I did watch yesterday. I watched Ali Ostrander's like year-end financials video, which is very interesting. She has one short with like over 1 million views on it. That's wild. I mean, I don't know what my most successful short is. I suppose I can look that up, but I know it's not any. If I have a short that has more than 40,000 views, I'd be shocked. I'd be shocked. Jacob D says there's gonna be a Lyles versus a celebrity 100-meter event. I mean, he already did. What was that? What did he do that one on YouTube? Mr. Beast was involved. I forget the name of the guy that he raced. The guy had wheels. He was fast. He wasn't a joke. Was that a 40 meters? But I feel like, how do we do this? Like, let's write one more, and that'll be the end of it. I want to say Lyles. I want to say there'll be another celebrity. What was I calling the event? Not a novelty race. Is it a novelty race? Exhibition. Exhibition sprint. That's not enough because I'm sure, hopefully we'll get that. How do we write? How do we make this a little bit more interesting? Oh, post call with Paul says my most popular short has 109,000 views. That's amazing. I would not have expected that at all. But anyway, it's 1/10. It's like 1/14 the best of Ali Ostrander's, which is amazing. Great for her. Yeah, more novelty races of elites versus the public or each other. Yeah, I want to see another one. I just okay, let's just write novelty race. Novelty sprint. Because it's always going to be a sprint, right? Novelty sprint event. Well, are we going to remember what that means when that happens? I think we are. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do now is, all right. We're going to go. So I'm going to hit save here. And here's what it looks like when I do it. So I can set it up. And if you do it on your browser, it'll remember this for you. So you don't have to remember it. But what I'm going to do is like take a screenshot of this eventually. And then that way through the course of the year, and I made it so there would be space at the bottom so we can write in our own notes or whatever. And so we'll have this as and everyone should get a different card. You should get a different shuffled card, hopefully. And I guess if we all have the same one, then I guess that's not that bad. But yeah. So here's the bingo card. All right, there we go. And so it saves. I'm guessing it puts a cookie on my computer, which I'm not a huge fan of, but I guess it remembers my results. But I can share it. So there's I guess if you look at because I don't think it's going to let me put in a, let's see, will it let me? I tried to put in the link into the chat. I don't know if it'll actually go through. But once we're done here, I'll amend, or I'll put in a comment, and I'll amend the description of this video that it's here. And then I think you guys should be able to use it, and hopefully no one can go through and edit it. I think it recognizes that I'm the one that made it, and so it'll only let me edit it. But before we do that, I'm going to just take a screenshot of this real quick, just in case that does happen and someone messes around with it maliciously. All right, so I got a screenshot of it. But yeah, that's the bingo card for today. It looks like it did make it through in the chat, but I will also update the description. And then for anyone that's listening or watching this later, you should be able to see it right away. And then we can keep track of this all year long. And hopefully it will end up working. This one just says Kipchoge. I think that's what's supposed to say. Kipchoge retires, but I don't know. So yeah. So hopefully this. Oh wait, Kipchoge retires. So let's save that. Okay. So there we go. That's all there. So have fun playing. I'll figure out some sort of prize later. Martha says, should we print it? You can print it, I guess. David says, it is editable. Okay. Try not to edit it, guys. Because that makes it harder for me to play. But yeah, so I would say, yeah, print it out, or like set your thing to hit play, and then take a screenshot of it, and then just keep that in. So that way it doesn't change on you throughout the year. So that way you can actually play the game. So, yeah, Dan Dalton says, is it editable? Yeah, I did make it editable, and so please no one go and change it. This is it's only going to be as fun as we make it. So if people ruin a good thing, I'm going to have to, I guess, try and find a way to take it down. So we'll see. But screenshot it, print it, whatever you want to do. Hit the play button that's on there, and then that way you can, it'll show it to you. Or I guess you could just use it in the way that it's showing on this first screen that you guys are seeing. So do it either way. But hopefully we have some fun with it. All right, guys? Okay. Hopefully this will work. This will be fun, because everyone here is going to be nice and not mess around with it. Okay, good. All right. That's going to be it for today. Yeah, Monday we'll do another live stream. We'll start talking about weather for Houston. I've got some packages to unbox. I think I can show them to you. I'll double check over the weekend to make sure I'm allowed to show them to you. But yeah, that'll be it for everyone. Hopefully, wherever you are, you're out there being safe generally, and also safe during your runs. And thanks everyone for tuning in. See you soon.